Croatoan Radio at your witching hour. Don't swipe that screen. You're listening to the latest tales from the county of Croatoan. Tonight's grim account arrives from Utah, USA. Barking dogs are not uncommon on the west side of Salt Lake City Valley, where its orderly grid system of streets unwind into the maze-like suburban neighborhoods. The only source of interest, contrasting against the white and gray plywood pop-ups, are the fluorescent shimmer of gas stations and strip malls. 5 years ago, it was nothing but fields of golden dried grass and grazing cattle. In the ever-rotating cycle of life, the occasional calf goes missing, and it coincides with the reports of a homebody swearing they saw a cougar or mountain lion darting across the yellow cone of a street lamp. As the Salt Lake Valley flooded with more people and more developers, more land needed to be bought and carved into catchy-sounding roads, courts, and circles. With each year, the houses advanced further into untouched space until they butted against the mountains. One such household experienced an unexpected touch with Croatoan County late one autumn night in Magna, Utah. "Hey Mike, I'm taking Sherry out for a run." No response. "Hey Mike? Did you say something, dear?" Mike leaned back in his recliner to get a clear view of the doorway from the living room. Leslie scoffed. "Have fun saving the world. I'm going to go run in it." She paused at Michael's protest. "Wait, I'll go with you. Just let me put some shoes on and tell the guys I'm going out." "It's okay. I don't want to interrupt." "Nah, most of them are getting off soon anyways. Plus, why wouldn't I want to run with you? It's not like we're getting married or anything." Leslie's heart skipped a beat. He asked only 3 weeks ago and it still didn't feel real. None of her life felt real. They moved into their townhome neighborhood just 4 months ago, got Sherry, an adopted 3-year-old husky, just after they got engaged. Before all that, she was still living with her parents, attending church to try to find the right man, only to meet him accidentally while running in the park. It was perfect. Everything was perfect. And moving fast. But she knew what it was like for things to move unbearably slow, not knowing if she'd ever find the happiness her parents had. But now, she had it. Leslie sighed and sat on the front step, holding Sherry close so she wouldn't tug at the leash, instead impatiently switching her gaze between passing cars and the dark stretches of autumn clouds concealing the moon. All right, you ready to run? Have some fun?" Leslie made a loud gagging noise. "Shh, someone will think you don't actually like my witty one-liners." She laughed and shook her head. "Come on, witty one-liner. Sherry's gotten so many of them from your rants, she's choking at the leash." Mike cocked an eyebrow and led the jog, at first running backwards. "It's a good thing she's not a parrot, or else we'd really have trouble when your parents come over." "Yeah, actually, we need to talk about some of the things you're saying when you're..." "No time to talk, only time to run." "Hey, get back here." The sidewalk wound through yellow-spotted front lawns, juvenile trees only a couple of years older than the wall-to-wall townhomes, vehicles lining every inch of open curb space. There was a park several blocks away where they could let Sherry off her leash, but they first had to wade through the nearly finished suburbia of homes. Sherry occasionally broke from her running, stopping to mark her territory on some of the more annoying dogs' fences, causing them to bark more viciously in response. After several minutes of the process repeating, they finally made it to the open of the park, still surrounded by 2-story houses, rectangular squares of yellow light illuminating the edges of the park, its pathway lights still not connected to the grid. Their eyes adjusted to the moonlight bathing the park. They let Sherry off her leash and slowly made their way through the rarely used playground equipment. "You know, I don't ever see any kids out here at night." "Well, yeah, it's 10 p.m. "And? Didn't you ever go out at night? Ride bikes, hang out at the 7-Eleven? Leslie made her way to the swing set, leaning back to let her weight softly carry her forward. "Well, probably not as much as you, but yeah. One time we wore a bunch of those flexible glow sticks and rode our scooters to the park." Mike sat next to her in the second swing, pumping his legs to gain elevation. "And it made you feel like aliens, right?" "No. I felt like a fairy." "You get what I mean, though. What happened to kids running around, having fun?" She looked at Mike, who was excitedly swinging his legs at longer intervals, getting closer to the top, shuddering the frame with each downward plunge. I think you're having enough fun for the both of us. A dark, upright shadow dashed across her peripheral, crossing from the black of the fence line between vehicles to the north-facing darkness of the opposite home. A sight she would have more easily forgotten had the hair on the back of her neck not raise, and the dogs in that area not start barking. What's wrong? You getting tired, or... Mike, I swear I just saw someone running across the street over there. Launching himself from the swing set, he rolled and dramatically swung his head around. People running in the middle of the night? No, that's not normal at all. We should call the police. Mike, I'm serious. It was weird. People don't run like that. Like what? Like this? Mike started running in place, dramatically flailing his arms from side to side. Sherry stiffly walked past Mike, tail standing on end, head lowered, taking a defensive position between them and the barking that seemed to be spreading outwards as more canines decided to join in. Mike paused at Sherry's posture, face showing more concern. Hey Les, could you toss me the leash? Leslie threw the bundled strap to him. He wrapped her arm around Sherry's frozen frame, hooking the clip just in case she'd bolt, but she never did, never making a sound, some inkling of wolf DNA telling her that making noise wouldn't be beneficial. Leslie pushed into Michael's side, the three of them tensely waiting, though not for long. In the midst of the blocks-wide barking, the closest dog's shouts fell to snarling, its cries taking a sharper, saliva-dripping shriek, till it yelped suddenly, its brief, gurgling voice cut short. The surrounding barks quieted, dying off in whimpers as they finally felt what their husky knew from the beginning. Sherry backed slowly, tugging away from her owner's shocked stances in the middle of the dark, empty park. Mike was the first to break out of the anxious spell that had focused their gaze and caused time to pass slowly. Let's take the long way back. Stick to the main drag, away from whatever that was. Leslie nodded, eyes wide, trained on the place she last saw the figure for a couple of moments longer, till she turned to join Mike and Sherry. They didn't pause in their pace. No one spoke. Sherry obediently matched Mike's speed. The route added 10 minutes of strained eyes shifting and the welcomed ambiance of a busy road. Passing headlights illuminated the dark pockets of front porches and driveways, relief appearing and leaving as quickly as the cars. As they turned the corner to enter their housing complex, Leslie tugged on Mike's shoulder. Wait, Mike, what do we do if we come across it? Shouldn't we call the police? Mike wiped the sweat from his forehead and looked down thinking. Sherry tugged nervously from side to side. Finally, he shrugged and looked back at her. Well, when we get back to our place, we can look up the house and report what we heard. If I had to guess, they've already reported it, and depending, it was probably a mountain lion. Leslie shook her head. It wasn't a mountain lion. Well, it was dark. How could you know for sure? Leslie sharply cut in. I know what a mountain lion looks like. It was tall. It looked like a person. Mike exhaled deeply and looked around again, scanning their surroundings. Fine. I believe you. I don't want to, but I believe you. Let's get back to our place, get our facts straight, and call the police with what you saw. She nodded and held Mike close. Don't worry. On my way home from work tomorrow, I'll get a shotgun and... Guns? Shouldn't we just report it to the police? Mike's face furrowed. Well, I already had that 22, but if something's killing dogs, then we're going to need something a little bit bigger than that, right? Leslie dropped to a crouch. I just don't know why this is happening. Mike cupped a hand under her arm and brought her back to his level. It doesn't matter why it's happening. Something happened. We're freaked out, so we need to react properly. We need to be safe, and we need to be together on this, okay? Some tears formed at the edges of Leslie's eyes as she nodded, voice too choked to respond. Hey, Mike wrapped his arm around her, kissing her forehead, then wiping the slight wet from her eyes. We're almost home. We can do this. Plus, Sherry's no pushover. She's tougher than the other dogs and will protect us, okay? Leslie nodded again, breathing deeply. All right, let's do it. Hopeful and optimistic, they launched their first steps, only to be halted by a paralyzed Sherry. Head lowered, tail lifted, fur on end. This time, a low guttural growl passed between bared fangs. They paused and looked around, unable to spot the figure. Leslie crouched next to her. Sherry, you're scaring me. Why are you... That's when she saw her eyes. Her eyes trained on one point. Leslie felt cold nerves arcing across her shoulders and up her spine as she craned her face upwards. Laying close to the edge of the roof, the glow of a speeding headlight illuminated its features for a moment. Her memory was both imprinted by its impression and blurred by the shock of its impact. It had sharp, drooping ears, a skull-like snout, sharp cheekbones, gray skin stretched to milky white orbs, hunched, extraneous bones protruding from irregular angles, a thick tongue flitted between chipped fangs. It gripped the eaves, body pressed close to the shingles, wincing momentarily from the glow of the passing light. Leslie screamed. Sherry snapped her spittle-webbed jaw upwards. Mike caught a brief glimpse before yanking both of them in a desperate yell. Run! The three took off at a sprinting pace, Leslie swinging her head back to catch glimpses of the creature launching itself from one rooftop to the next, lying low, peering over the edge in ambivalent pursuit. Don't stop! Don't stop! A second-story window opened ahead of them with a slam. A large, balding man in a stained tank top leaned out the window to shout, but he was cut off by the shrill, echoing shriek of the creature launching over his head to land on his roof. Blubbering curses and horrified shakes, he slammed the window again and closed his blinds, drawing the attention of the creature to hang outside, scratching at the glass briefly before its heightened attention turned to its three fleeing victims. The creature dropped from its second-story hang to the sidewalk, lurching forward at a sprinter's pace, cracked bloody nails outstretched like 10 sharp lances, feet splaying against the sidewalk in a rough, grinding smack. It shrieked, its cry echoing along the valley of textured stucco and faux brick paneling. Mike dropped Sherry's leash to pull out the key moments before reaching their door, plunging it in one go, wrenching the door open at the moment Leslie and their dog followed through. He slammed the door on the approaching monster, bolting it shut, and pushed the side table in front, while Leslie rushed to the kitchen for a knife. He backed away momentarily. Leslie, I'll grab the .22. Stay with Sherry yelped. In their haste, the handle to her leash was left on the other side of the door, now being hauled through a gap in the weather stripping. Whines croaked from Sherry's strangled larynx as the force of the monster's pull dragged Sherry beneath the side table, slamming her into the door. Mike threw the table and leaned over, desperately trying to unclip her collar, the tension making it impossible. Mike turned to Leslie and shouted, "Give me the knife!" Pushing her fur down, he slid the blade underneath and began slicing, the tip at times drawing blood from her thrashing head. Leslie joined in to try to keep Sherry's head still till finally the collar was cut and the poor husky retreated from the door, retaliating in painfully strained barks. The leash fell slack at the sound of the escaped husky. The front walk silent, the entryway flooded with the noise of heavy gasps and the splats of sweat and tears. "Call the police, Leslie. I'm grabbing the gun." As Mike turned to run up the dark stairs, a heavy thud shattered glass from one of the bedrooms above, the crash of thrown objects following soon after. Mike slowly descended back to Leslie's side in the entryway, their eyes tracking the heavy footfalls.
911, what's your...
"There's a monster in our home. It tried killing us. It almost killed our dog. Please help us."
Do you have a safe room you can hide in, or Someplace you can escape to?
Overhearing the operator's straightforward suggestion, Mike nodded and led them to the garage. Seeing there was no way to lock it from the inside, he found a power cable and tied the door handle to the base of some freestanding metal shelves. Leslie gave their address while retreating from the door to hide behind their sedan. Mike saw the car, patted his pocket, and asked, "Do you have the keys, Leslie?" She shook her head. Leslie swung a fist on the roof of the car, loudly announcing her frustration. Sherry took a defensive position by Leslie's side. The crashing stopped upstairs, its footfalls advancing towards the staircase, accompanied by angered hissing and the pops of shattered light bulbs. The operator continued to keep Leslie on the line, not that she was going to hang up.
Do you have anything to defend yourself with?
Leslie ran to the toolbox, looking for anything large or sharp enough to fight back against it. "What are you looking for?" "Something to defend us with." Mike finished tying the barricade and ran to the corner where he shoved over some unopened boxes, tearing piles apart until he pulled out a hatchet and a sledgehammer. Tossing the hatchet to Leslie, he posted himself near the door, 10 pounds of cyclical steel resting on his shoulder. "Yes, we've found something to defend ourselves with. How close are the police?" The door handle turned slightly, spurring Mike to drop the sledgehammer and try grabbing it with both his hands. As hard as he could, the sweat from his palms made stopping the handle impossible. Thankfully, when the door was pulled, its opening was tautly shut by Michael's tightly wound knots. After several failed attempts, the creature slammed against it, bulging the door inward. Sirens howled in the distance. "Operator, we can hear the sirens, but please, it's almost broken through." Mike picked up the sledgehammer once more and raised it above his head. The creature rammed hard enough to shatter through the reinforced particle board, its snarling, gnarled face stretched open, screeching in triumph. Mike swung the hammer down on the creature's head, spraying inky blood and causing it to retreat backwards, holding the dented split over its brow. Its milky eyes met Mike's, and for a moment both were creatures, screaming at each other in primal rage. Mike's rage and tool, intimidating enough for the monster to retreat slowly from sight, its footsteps climbing the stairs, pushing past debris till the crunch of glass marked its escape to the neighbors' rooftops. An assumption that Mike and Leslie would wait for the police to confirm. Shaken by their ordeal, the newness of their perfect life now consecrated by the trial of survival, they were fortunate in their encounter with the strange and bizarre. They survived their touch with Croatoan County. Michael and Leslie made good use of their renter's insurance, moved in with their parents, and eventually moved to the east side of the valley. A shadowy gray figure prowls the rooftops of West Valley City, Utah, out of reach of the nightly barking dogs waiting for citizens to walk from their buildings, ready to pounce. Some say it was displaced from its cave by desperate copper miners. Some say the allure of easy prey drew it from the mountains. All we know is that it now stalks the fringes of the Salt Lake Valley, searching for victims to feast upon in the shadows of dark driveways, dogs to tear apart in their backyards. Thank you for listening to Croatoan Radio. Please upvote and share if you like the tale of the rooftop crawler. To those out at night, be safe, and check the rooftops, just in case something is crawling in the peripheral of your vision.